You know how you can tell if you have a really great piper? You recognize the songs. another hand for Wayne Coleman. Wow, Wayne. I've heard Wayne play a dozen times, never better than today. Again, thank you for the 116th Army Band, your rousing, patriotic presentations. Interesting facts about Wayne. Wait till you hear how special Wayne Coleman is. He's a third generation professional piper. He's performed over 1,000 events in 35 years, including the 34th Super Bowl in the year 2000. We don't just shove anybody up here in front of you. We only get you the best. And today, he's a third generation piper, as I said. Today, he is playing his father's pipes, which his father acquired in Glasgow, Scotland in 1937. So if you want a treat or a really cool selfie, catch him at the end of this presentation. So hello again. I'm so happy to welcome you here today on this wonderful occasion. We gather here at Veterans Park for somber occasions, Memorial Day, for example. But today's not somber, my friends. Today is wonderful. We are honoring active duty. We are honoring veterans. We are honoring our beautiful country. And you're surrounded by one of Atlanta's gems, the Atlanta History Center. You will hear later from Sheffield Hale, the CEO of the Atlanta History Center. And Sheffield, thank you for bringing this wonderful gift to us. So let's see everybody wave their American flags. Wave those flags now. Oh, how beautiful is that? Terrific. What, you guys don't have flags? Oh, never mind. So beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm Vince Corica. I'm a U.S. Army Vietnam combat veteran. I got home from the jungles of Vietnam about 50 years ago and married this woman that's going to raise her hand right now, not long thereafter. And it's just so good of all of you to come here today. This is about history, and I thought you might appreciate a few facts about the origin of Veterans Day. I know you know a lot of this, but I think a couple of things that I'm going to say very quickly might enrich your knowledge a little bit. We all know this much. Following World War I, the war to end all wars, President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed in 1919 that November 11th would be commemorated each year as Armistice Day. Where did that specific date come from? We all know about the 11th hour on the 11th day and the 11th month, but where did that come from? Here's where. The armistice ending the war was signed about 50 miles north of Paris in a special forest in France known as the Compiègne Forest. And in a railway car in the Compiègne Forest, the armistice was signed. It specified that hostilities worldwide had to end on a cut point that everyone could identify with, thus the 11, the 11, and the 11. Sadly, by the time the armistice was signed, 20 million people worldwide had lost their lives in World War I. 20 million people. Then, in 1938, by act of Congress, November 11th became a legal holiday to celebrate world peace, but still be known as Armistice Day. Then, following World War II, Congress amended the act of 1938 to create Veterans Day, and November 11th became the day to honor veterans of all wars. And on our program today, we have a really special speaker who is a World War II veteran, and we run the whole way forward to our armed conflicts today in the battle against terrorism. Since 2013, on this place, the Atlanta, weather permitting, the Atlanta History Center has been the place in Atlanta to celebrate our veterans on Veterans Day. I bet you're ready for the program now, right? All right, let's do this. We're going to start with the presentation of colors, then we'll go to the national anthem, then we'll go to the Pledge of Allegiance, and then to more wonderful things about the program. So at this time, if you are able, please stand as we arrange for our wonderful color guard to present the colors. Then, after the colors are presented, we will remain standing for the singing of our national anthem performed by Mr. Timothy Miller, Atlanta's own internationally celebrated tenor soloist. Then we will have the Pledge of Allegiance by a World War II veteran. How you like me now? All right, okay. So, color guard, please present the colors. Mr. Timothy Miller, please honor us. Thank you, sir.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Unbelievable, Timothy. Thank you. We will hear from Timothy later. If you know anything about Braves home games, and I'll bet everyone does, seventh inning stretch right here, Mr. Seventh Inning Stretch. Timothy Miller, Atlanta's gift to the world. God bless America. Don't leave till you hear that. So our Pledge of Allegiance is going to be presented today by a really special individual, a World War II Army veteran, Mr. Charles Turner, who is here today, assisted by his friend, Mr. Tony Lett, who is a Vietnam veteran. So Mr. Turner and Mr. Lett, would you please come to the podium and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Congratulations to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So,
Thank you, everyone. You may be seated, please. We have been honored here today by the color guard of the Georgia Army National Guard. You see their wonderful dignity and prominence with us today. Thank you very much, color guard. Please retire the colors. Continuing along with our program, we have another special individual who's going to be delivering our invocation today. Our invocation will be led by Mr. Jeremy Grono. Jeremy Grono is the Christian counselor and founder of Warriors in Christ. Jeremy's internationally known practice is based in Canton, Georgia. Warriors in Christ empowers men and women through Christian-based counseling and coaching. Jeremy is a 10-year Army veteran and former Apache attack helicopter pilot with combat service in Afghanistan. Talk about someone who knows about challenge and overcoming and values and Christian beliefs. Jeremy, please come to the podium.
Today, we gather to celebrate Veterans Day and honor the stories of each veteran who is here today. Stories of courage, sacrifice, and dedication that has not only shaped each of your lives, but our great nation. As I reflect on my own experience, I am reminded of the countless moments that defined us. The quiet tension on base as the sun dips below the horizon. Men and women preparing in silence, checking their gear, exchanging quiet nods. There's a focus in the eyes of these warriors, a silent, shared understanding of the risks ahead. I remember stepping into the mission briefing room where details of the operation were laid out. Every word carried weight. We listened intently, storing each instruction, each contingency plan, knowing that the lives of our team depended on these very moments. I walked attentively around my aircraft, checking every part, bolt, and blade, running my hands along the cold metal skin of the aircraft. Strapping in as the rotor started to turn, the helicopter came to life, becoming part of me. As we lined up on the runway, I watched as grizzled, battle-hardened warriors climbed in the back of the Blackhawks. Beards wild from months in combat, but eyes sharp and ready. And then as we lifted off into the pitch black night sky, every sound, every heartbeat faded into focus. This story is a small reflection of every veteran's journey, a testament to the service shared by each branch. Whether you geared up for a recon mission with a scout team, set sail from a harbor on a vast sea voyage, launched into the dark skies for air support, treaded through the jungle forest with a rifle and a radio, dove into the ocean depths, each of you answered a unique call. Each of you faced the unknown. Each of you lived with courage to be among the brave. Let us pray. Almighty Father, we gather today to honor and remember the men and women who served our nation with courage and dedication. We thank you for their sacrifice and commitment to defend our freedoms. May your presence be felt among us as we recognize their bravery and reflect on the price of freedom. Grant us wisdom and understanding as we celebrate this day so that we may be inspired to support our veterans and promote peace in our communities. Let this ceremony be filled with gratitude, uniting us as one nation under God. We ask this in your holy and precious name. Amen.
Good morning. I'm Sheffield Hale, President and CEO of the Atlanta History Center. I want to welcome you here today. It looks like a few of you forgot your sunglasses and didn't expect what we all knew was going to happen, was that the sun was going to come out just at the right time for this celebration. This is always my favorite thing that we do every year, and thank you all for being here. It's a very important holiday for the History Center and, of course, our entire nation. Veterans of all branches of the military in all conflicts or in peacetime define American history. Their services and sacrifices show us the best of America, and the sacrifices are made to maintain freedom and democracy. Atlanta History Center is proud to be here to be able to document and preserve stories of veterans through our Veterans History Project. a collection of oral histories and archives that chronicle these important personal histories. We now have over 900 interviews from World War II veterans all the way to the present day. And none of that would have happened without the support of, first, of the Vietnam Veterans Business Association, but most importantly, Sue Verhoff, our local hero, who has made all of this happen, and what a legacy she has left for the Atlanta History Center and for all of us today. Please, many of you have already given your, or you have talked to Sue about your history. If you see her today and you haven't done it, please sign up. It's so important for future generations to know what really happened. So all of our support to that program, and will continue on into the future. And I'd also like to thank Regions Bank, who for the last 10 years has been our sponsor for this event. And every time we call on them for anything that has to do with this event, they're ready and willing and able to do it. And this year, we are honored to have Mary Beth Koch, Executive Vice President and District Director of Georgia Carolinas, here to speak for us. She's a dedicated member of the Atlanta community. She serves as chair of the Georgia Council of Economic Education. And she's also one of these yellow jackets that I'm now scared of as a dog fan. With that in mind, and with great hope and anticipation, please join me in welcoming Mary Beth Koch.
I'm grateful for the sun and apologize that I had to put on my glasses. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to see your faces out here. Thank you for your service. That's a phrase that's genuine and heartfelt, and I'm sure many of you have heard it countless times, especially on Veterans Day. It's a phrase I grew up hearing. My granddad's a Navy veteran, and I was the spouse of an Air Force officer who served in Afghanistan. Today, on behalf of Regions, I am honored to say thank you for your service. To the brave men and women here with us today who have served and are still serving our nation's armed forces. I want you to know that our company's appreciation for your honor and bravery extends year-round. At Regions, we have a commitment to support service members, veterans, and their families through community involvement and military-friendly products and services. We also want to support through career services for those that are completing their time in the military and are seeking to bring those exceptional skills into the civilian workforce. As an extension of our support here in Atlanta, as Sheffield said, for the last 10 years, Regions has been proudly serving as the presenting sponsor for this Veterans Day program. Our nation, our community, and our company are deeply grateful for your service. And we see this as a time to pay special tribute to the dedication, courage, and integrity that define your devotion to our country. Our bank is stronger today because of the veterans I call my colleagues. And in recent years, we've done even more to welcome veterans to our workforce. We launched a program called Brave that helps transition military service members into successful civilian careers following their service, while also providing veteran-to-veteran mentorship. And we also have a membership with the Department of Defense Military Spouse Employment Partnership Program, which connects military spouses with career opportunities as well. Here in Atlanta, throughout Georgia, and our 16-state footprint, our devotion to veterans is known. From fundraising to volunteer services to sponsoring trainings of service animals, the building of special homes and communities, Regions invest our time, talent, and resources into programs that honor our veterans, their families, and the organizations that support them. So on behalf of Regions, we salute you today. And yes, we thank you for your service. But more than that, we're honored to turn our appreciation into action. And it's a commitment that we pledge to do each day forward. Happy Veterans Day.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Folks, you'll hear a little bit more about the extreme generosity of Mary Beth and Regions as we get to the end of our day today. But Regions Bank has been quite a pillar of loyalty, to the Atlanta History Center, and to all of us who are gauging as veterans. And as our executive producer, Max, is just pointing out, the branch is right here. Is that what you wanted me to do, Max? Regions Bank. They're not open today, although I did see some gentlemen, it must have been a Halloween party, they were wearing masks. Oh, never mind. No, okay. So we're going to have some fun right now. We're going to get some important people to stand for us, please. So first of all, I'm going to ask active duty military and their families to stand, then veterans of all wars, then Gold Star families, and then I'm going to introduce some civilian dignitaries who we're very honored to have with us here today. So first of all, any active military who is here today and your families, please rise and remain standing. I think Colonel, okay, thank you. Oh yes, of course. And Colonel Monica Smith is here. Are you Monica? Okay, Monica, good. Colonel Monica Smith, active duty U.S. Air Force. Thank you, Colonel. Thank you. Please stay standing. Now, may we have veterans of World War II, other than we have Charles Turner, our superstar, any other veterans or family of World War II veterans? Yes, thank you. America's greatest generation. We celebrate our World War II veterans for a countless number of reasons. America's greatest generation saved the whole world. Thank you, Charles, thank you. Veterans of any other war or conflict, please stand and remain standing. Veterans of any other war or conflict, yes. Our nation rides on our back, friends. And now, having recognized all of our veterans and our active, do we have any Gold Star families here today? God bless our Gold Star families. And local civilian dignitaries, we have a number of interesting people here today. We have, and when I say your name, if you would please rise. We have Catherine Raymakers, the Consul General of Belgium. Catherine, there you are. And don't ask her for chocolate. I already ate it all. I make myself laugh. If you don't laugh, that's on you. Jacob Veerman, the Consul General of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Something about Jacob, he's a very good-looking gentleman. My wife asked me to introduce her to him. I don't know. And she asked me to have the car keys. I might be in trouble. And we have one of our own, the Atlanta Vietnam Veterans Business Association is proud to have as a member T. Jackson Bedford, a retired Superior Court judge from Fulton County. Your Honor. Now, in your program, I hope that you took time to read about Frank Weiser. Frank is right here today. I'm going to introduce him in a minute. But talk about special, talk about unique. So his biography is so interesting, I'm going to read it all. You might have read it already, but don't deny me the pleasure of bragging about this guy, okay? So Frank is U.S. Navy Commander retired. He's a two-time Blue Angels pilot who was deployed in combat three times, including Afghanistan and Iraq. He's a native of Atlanta, and he joined the Blue Angels for the first time in September 2007. He has accumulated more than 5,000 flight hours, all of our aviators and pilots in the Atlanta Vietnam Veterans Business Association. You know how much 5,000 hours requires in terms of dedication and skill. He has over 500 carrier landings. He's a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy. He earned a master's degree in systems analysis from the Naval Postgraduate School in September 2009. So not only is he a intergalactically talented pilot, he's also an IT guy. His decorations include multiple meritorious service medals, strike air medals, and various personal and unit awards. Okay, here's my favorite part. He flew in the front seat as the pilot for some of Top Gun Maverick's most memorable scenes. Who all saw that movie, also known as Top Gun 2? All right. He's the guy. So remember when Tom Cruise was flying through that canyon and had to get through that canyon in 2 minutes and 15 seconds to prove that it can be done? Who was flying that bird, Frank? Frank was. There goes my self-esteem for the rest of my life. Lightning speeds, 20 feet clearance between the wings of the aircraft and the walls of the canyon. Unbelievable. So, retired Navy Commander Frank Weiser, please come to the podium and treat us to your address.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay? So let me start by saying I obviously appreciate the kind remarks. What I would like to do is just share a few of my thoughts from my time in the military and my time serving our country in hopes that it can resonate across our veterans, our active duty service personnel here. Obviously, we have a variety of different services that are here, so I come from naval aviation, so it's important for me to at least highlight the fact I feel obligated to say that if you don't know many Navy pilots, one truism is that despite their sometimes swaggering exterior, they are in fact capable of emotions like love, affection, even caring. Those feelings just don't involve anyone else. As Vince said, I had the privilege and the opportunity to fly in Top Gun Maverick. It's one of these shiny objects in my past that I'll speak to in a moment. The reason I did it is because of my time on the Blue Angels. I had served at that point about 10 years with the Blue Angels. And what the Navy did a great job of is it mitigated the risk. When they filmed the very first Top Gun, a pilot was killed. Art Scholl died in the filming. And the Navy, not a Navy pilot, a civilian pilot, but nonetheless, we lost an aviator. And so they were very mindful of the fact that we can't lose anyone else. And so how do you mitigate this risk? In combat, there's no amount of risk that we won't accept. If our men and women are in combat, we're launching off the carrier in night, in bad weather, no matter what happens, because the risk is justifiable. But for a movie, there's no acceptable risk, right? And so how do we manage it? Well, the way they did it was they brought in the recognized experts. When we filmed the dogfighting scenes, they used the Top Gun instructors. No one is better at dogfighting and aerial combat than the Top Gun IPs. And so they flew those scenes. For me, my involvement was because of all this time on the Blue Angels, Tom Cruise and Jerry Bruckheimer were looking to put an airplane at an extreme low altitude. Traditionally in the military, if you fly at low altitude, it's 500 to maybe 200 feet. And even at 200 feet, the amount of time you're allowed to look inside your cockpit is 1 second. We call it our mission cross-check time. You're allowed 1 second. A bit like texting while you drive, if I could give you that analogy. But at 10 feet or 20 feet, the time is non-existent, obviously. So we need to have experience to mitigate the risk. And so my involvement was basically because as a Blue Angel solo pilot, I had spent a great deal of time at low altitude. So I'd like to share a couple of the examples that happened and stories that came part of being this movie. The first for me, the first scene I filmed was the funeral flyover scene. So it looks as if a number of you have seen this movie. That scene was shot in California, right off the coast of San Diego at Fort Rosecrans, if you've ever been there. And so what happened for me is I went out there. It was a sunset scene that we were shooting. So I went at lunchtime. I'm a Navy pilot. I was in my flight suit. It was a work day for me. I was going to be in a Blue Angel airplane. And as it turned out, in the movie, it shows 4 airplanes and the right wingman kind of climbing towards the heavens as you would typically do in a missing man formation. It was really just me that day, and I flew over and over and over again to allow Paramount to take all the different runs and turn it into a 4-plane formation. But as I got to this site, I'm walking down the street. I had parked. I'm going to go take a look at my ingress lines, my egress, the elevation, the obstructions. That's sort of the right thing to do as the aviator prepping for this flight. And there approaching me as I walked was a 4-star admiral. And so for those who have served, you know the expression, when in doubt, whip it out. I saluted. Good afternoon, sir. How are you? Better safe than sorry. I go on my way. About 10 feet past, I'm thinking to myself, there are literally only 5 or 6 4-stars in the whole Navy. What's the chance I just bumped into one? and he has no one around him. Traditionally, there's a staff of 20, right? Alone. 50 feet further, here's another 4-star. Good afternoon, sir. What a day for me. 2 4-stars. A third of our flag officers are right here on the same street. A moment later, there's a 3-star. And before I can even salute, the individual gets up to me and he's not a day over 19. And then I started to say and I said, what the is happening right here in San Diego? Turns out, unbeknownst to me, I'm the only actual service member there. Everybody else is either skipping high school for the day or being paid to be an extra, but everyone's in these flag officer uniforms. And that became a very telling aspect of Top Gun Maverick, because you truly had no idea who was real and who was fake. And as an active duty service personnel, I made the assumption that we were all real. What I find pretty commonplace personally, more like when I'm getting my 10% off at Home Depot, is I hear the comment that Mary Beth said, thanks for your service. And we hear that a lot. And I'm grateful, obviously, that our nation is grateful. What I would like to say is that for us who've come back from wars, we're welcomed by the USO, we're welcomed by our family and friends. But I think I would be remiss if I weren't to mention the fact that there are veterans here amongst us who didn't have the same experience. And for those that served in Vietnam, who saw atrocities of war that I can't fathom having served 25 years, and who came home to a nation that wasn't ready for them, back when the word mental health meant nothing, I think it's really important to recognize the fact that our country is strong today because we serve on their legacy. We stand on their proud shoulders, their proud, strong backs to be able to continue this service. So what I would like to do, and hopefully it means something from 25 years of service, is to offer up to all our Vietnam vets who are here a very hearty thank you for your service. For me personally, when I hear it, I respond with kind of a muffled, you're welcome, or thank you. What I say to myself is generally, no, thank you. For me, it's been an honor, and it's been a blessing to serve my country. And if I were to distill 25 years of time in the Navy into one word, it's grateful. I feel a great deal of gratitude for having been given the privilege to serve, for having had the opportunity, not just the places it's taken me and the opportunities it's provided, but most importantly for me, it's the men and women I've served with. And it always seems to be this way. We join for a cause, but we stay for our colleagues. We stay for our brothers and sisters who serve amongst us. For those that fly airplanes, we join because we want to fly these remarkable machines. But once we leave, what we miss are not the machines, we miss the people in every case. And so I find this to be a truism in my service, is that I remain very grateful for the experience it gave me. And I think having left, I've been retired for 3 years, I struggle to some degree to find meaning now after the military. But I go back to the John F. K. quote, and I'm going to read it here because I don't have it memorized. And he said, any man who may be asked in this century what he did to make his life worthwhile, I think I can respond with a good deal of pride and satisfaction. I served in the United States Navy. Obviously, he was a Navy combat veteran, but his point remains valid that those who have served understand that we're not burdened to some degree by that search for meaning. We've had the benefit. We are blessed to have had that opportunity. The men and women I've served with have taught me a great deal. And so I want to share just 2 or 3 things that I learned while I served on their wing and in their presence. First, I learned the meaning of the word courage. And I share that because what I don't mean is charging up a hill with a rifle, and I don't mean jumping on a grenade. I mean a different kind of courage. For example, the courage to do the right thing, the courage to make a hard decision, the courage to admit when you're wrong. For sure, I saw that more in the military than anywhere else. The idea that the men and women that you're surrounded by are willing to acknowledge their own weaknesses, their own failures, because they recognize that in doing so, they make our nation stronger. If they're willing to say, I screwed up, I know I did, I'm going to fix it, I'm going to be better, I'm going to serve you better in all that I do, that takes courage, that takes bravery, and I saw that around me all the time. I also saw men and women who were able to make a courageous decision when they had to balance their family and their service. And it's not an easy balance to do, and those who've served understand that. On one side, you're being evaluated, you're being graded by how you do. And when you come home, some of us are also evaluated and graded, but it's different. And so we walk this tightrope in how we do it. And it takes a courageous individual to know that they can continue serving and to know when the time has come to serve their family or their community. I also learned what it means to trust. And I view trust a bit like a muscle in that it has to be exercised, and that we can get stronger, we can get better at trust if we do it more. But in doing so, you have to make yourself vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable to trust someone, and you have to live a life of integrity to be trusted. We had a Blue Angel commanding officer that shared the comment of high trust, and he used it for us. What he meant by that was it's different than just trusting someone to do what they said. It means you're trusting them with your life, and they're trusting you with their lives over and over and over again. And that's this concept of high trust. And that's one of the things the military taught me. I can't achieve high trust in my daily life as a real estate developer, but I was able to achieve high trust as a Blue Angel pilot every single day. And so I'm grateful for having had that opportunity. And the last thing I learned that I think about every day is the gift of perspective. And my wife Bethany and I talk about it all the time. Because for us, what changed with our experience in the military, and it was most definitely our experience, it wasn't mine, it wasn't our squadron's, it was our family's experience, is that we learned a different way to look at life. Deployments, every time I left, the washing machine would break, one of the children got sick, everything went wrong. It happened every time. And so the gift of service there is the fact that it's not just the service member, it's the spouse, it's the family, it's the whole community, and the way they bond together to make it work. And so we learned this gift of perspective, that we approach life very differently because we had the privilege to serve. So I share that with you because I think for me it was very relevant. I have these two aspects of my career that are sort of the shiny objects. That's serving with the Blue Angels and flying in Top Gun Maverick. But what I think is really important for me to state is the fact that neither of those two things are important to me at all. They don't rank in the top 10, 20, even 100 of the things that were relevant about my career. What I care about, what I'm grateful for, is having had the chance to serve in combat, flying off aircraft carriers to support the men and women on the ground. Because at the end of the day, everyone in the military, regardless of your role, is in a support role. We're supporting the men and women that have a rifle, the Marine Corps 0311s, the infantry men who are taking the fight to the enemy. And we're just there to assist them however we can, whether it's in the cockpit of an airplane or behind a desk. And so I'm grateful for having had the chance to fly with the Blue Angels and to fly in Top Gun. But I'm really especially grateful for having had the chance to serve our nation overseas. I want to share one final story that I only share with veterans because I think it resonates for my experience. And that is, on one of the days we were shooting the canyon scene that Vince mentioned. And we did this over and over again. And to provide a little perspective, we were in a two-seat F-18. Tom Cruise was in the back seat, and they did a great job in the movie making it look as if they were flying. But the entire back of the aircraft was covered in cameras, IMAX quality cameras, shooting aft. What I saw was just looking forward. And anytime you watch that movie and you see a shoulder video of the pilot, it's a Navy or Marine Corps pilot. If it was a black actor, it was a black pilot. If it's a female actress, it's a female pilot. In my case, I flew with Tom for that entire canyon scene. And so in doing so, they would glue his hairline to the back of my head. They had no way to make my neck less fat, unfortunately. But they could spray paint it, which they did do, and they would glue Tom's hair to the back of my head so that when the Maverick helmet went on, from the back, it looked like him. Because I will say, certainly, I'm retired 3 years. My hair's never been longer than this, and it's never been as long as Tom Cruise's hair, which, of course, is way beyond standards anyway, nonetheless. But on one of the days we were filming the canyon scene, I go into what they call in Hollywood the hair and makeup booth. And so I walked into this booth, which is really just a trailer with people who do this for a living, and they were going to now spray paint my neck and glue his hair to my head. But I sat down, and the woman who was there said, "Who are you doubling as today?" And I said, "I'm sorry, what?" And she goes, "Who are you doubling as?" I said, "Well, it's really early. It's 5 in the morning. I guess I'm having a slow day. What exactly do you mean?" And she goes, "Who are you flying with?" I go, "Oh, I'm flying with Tom." And then as I sat and thought, I go, I don't want to be rude, but you do understand that I'm not doubling as Tom Cruise. He's definitely pretending to be me. I hope you recognize that all these people in here, they're Navy pilots, they're Marine Corps pilots, they're real. And the rest of them, they're faking it, actually. So the only people who really appreciate it are the ones who have served, who get the fact that they're not making a movie about insurance salesmen or stockbrokers. They're making it about fighter pilots or about Navy SEALs who are in combat, and these actors are pretending. In the case of Top Gun Maverick, we had this very unique characteristic where you had active duty individuals making a movie with actors. And I'm grateful that they gave us a chance to do it. I'm really grateful the Navy was smart enough to mitigate the risk and allow us to be a part of it. Most importantly, I'm grateful that you guys allowed me the time to be here today. I'm grateful for our veterans for your service. I'm grateful for your families. Thank you for having me. God bless America.
Well, like I said, there goes my self-esteem for the rest of my life. So seriously, though, Frank, your remarks were, to me, very moving because you talked about human values as well as military values. And really, that's what it's all about. It's love. We love our country. We love our comrades. We love the notion of serving both at the same time. And Frank, I'll tell you, on Tom Cruise's best day, he would be lucky to double you. All right. So, friends, we are right on schedule. We're at about the 75% mark of our program today. Next, we have a really cool thing that we always do, thanks to the extreme professionalism and extreme talent and dedication of the 116th Army National Guard Band. We're going to now be treated to a service song medley, and it has been put together by the band in order to honor all veterans and active duty military with us. So, veterans and active duty, when you hear your song, please stand and wave your flag, and you can stay standing or sit back down if you wish. So, if I may,
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we wish to honor all of our military veterans and current service members with a medley of Armed Forces service songs. If you are serving or have served in the military, we ask that you stand when your service song is played. Operating under the Department of Homeland Security with the motto of Semper Paratus, or Always Prepared, this branch of service was activated on August 4th, 1970. The United States Coast Guard. Organized under the Department of the Air Force, this newest branch of the military is charged with conducting global space operations and training, equipping, and protecting United States interests in space. The United States Space Force. Originally known as the Army Air Corps and constituted as a separate branch of the military on September 18, 1947, this is the largest and most technologically advanced force of its kind in the world, the United States Air Force. The largest maritime force in the world was activated on October 13th, 1775, to maintain, train, and equip combat-ready naval forces capable of winning wars, deterring aggression, and maintaining freedom on the seas. The United States Navy. Activated on November 10th, 1775, and responsible for providing force projection from the sea to deliver combined arms task forces, this force's members proudly proclaimed the motto, Semper Fi, the United States Marine Corps. Created on June 14th, 1775, the Senior Service of the United States is responsible for land-based military operations and is composed of active duty, reserve, and National Guard components. The United States Army. Thank you. Happy Veterans Day to all of our veterans.
The 116th Army Band, so professional, so talented, so creative. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You're out of sight. Extraordinary. Thank you. Thank you. Did I tell you nothing but talent today? Right on. Oh, Sheffield pointed out that when introducing local dignitaries, we missed Ms. Mary Norwood from the Atlanta City Council. Ms. Norwood, would you stand so we can thank you? Where are you? There you are. Thank you, ma'am. So I told you before when we had the extreme gift of Timothy Miller that he would be back. And he is fixing to come back up right now. And in addition to what I said about the Braves games, here is what the talent and the devotion to his art that Timothy brings to the table. He's an active performer with both national and international credits. He's a featured artist with the Atlanta Opera, the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, and the Atlanta Ballet. And now we're going to be treated once again to the extraordinary glory of Timothy Miller singing God Bless America. Timothy.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let let us all be grateful for a land so fair as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with the foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Timothy Miller, amazing, amazing. And he knows how to dress too, doesn't he? I told you to stop looking as good as I look. Okay, all right. So now we have some hospitality announcements coming from our wonderful host today, the leadership of the Atlanta History Center. And the way it's going to go is I'm going to make some of these hospitality announcements. I have some detailed thank yous to the wonderful people that have made all of this excellence possible today. We will have a benediction, and then we are going to have lunch. I don't know about you, but I think it's starting to get kind of hungry out here. So I'll be sure to tell you how to get that lunch. So hospitality announcements. All of you, our guests today, are entitled to free admission to the Atlanta History Center and the Cyclorama for the remainder of today. It's scattered throughout the lobby of the wonderful building behind us. Also, in order to get to our welcome table, you pass through all of these veteran service tables out there in front of you. And as Sheffield said so well, Sue, take just a couple steps forward and wave your arm. Okay, this is Sue Verhoff. Sheffield did the right thing by reminding all of us, veterans and our families, about the importance of the Oral History Project. Many of us were damaged by our service. Many of us can't talk about it, don't want to talk about it. But when we're gone, how will our family know what you did? And don't they deserve that? Don't they deserve that? You exhibited courage to face all that danger. Please give yourself the credit. Please take that courage and put your family foremost in your mind, and let Sue take care of you. Almost 1,000 oral histories, and the interviewers are extremely skillful. Sue made me cry. I didn't appreciate that very much, but I'm glad she kept asking me questions until she got me. Thanks, Sue. So also, all these handsome gentlemen in the red aprons are dashing, intelligent, attractive, charming ushers for today. They are members of the Atlanta Vietnam Veterans Business Association. It's an organization that I am proud to say I'm a past president of. The organization's almost 45 years old now. We number close to 150 active members. We do wonderful things for veterans in Atlanta. We do wonderful things to create scholarships, military scholarships, funded from one generation of veterans helping another. I didn't mean that it must be military. I mean one generation of military people helping another. And we have put throughout Atlanta memorials to Atlantans who were killed in action in Vietnam. So the Atlanta Vietnam veterans, my brothers here who have been ushing you today, we have been providing support to the Atlanta History Center any way we can since we first made their acquaintance. Thank you, dashing ushers. Now, as we're easing on down the road, Regions Bank, we heard from Mary Beth. I can't say enough for the sponsorship of Regions Bank. Regions Bank is a significant donor to our lunch today. The Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation, the 116th Army Band from the Georgia Army National Guard, the Georgia Army National Guard Color Guard, who, where are you? Did we lose them? Okay. Anyway, the Georgia Army National Guard Color Guard, Piper Wayne Coleman, another hand for Wayne. World War II veteran Charles Turner, with the assistance of Vietnam veteran Tony Lett. Thank you. Retired U.S. Navy Commander Frank Weiser. Frank. Christian Counselor Jeremy Grono. Jeremy will be coming up soon to do our benediction. Co-executive producers, Carter Jackson. Where are you, Carter Jackson, co-executive producer with this good-looking guy. Where are you, Max? Right there, this good-looking guy right here. Co-executive producers, nothing left to chance. Anything that was good today, they took care of it. With significant creative input from Claire Haley, thank you, Claire, also of the Atlanta History Center. So thank you all for making this wonderful day happen.